Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Broadway Sam, Sam Arce, and also known as Broadway Sam. I'm thrilled to be joined by producer and creative leader Lisa Dotson of Glory Girl Productions. Now, Lisa, we've known each other. It's going back. We met, I think it was
2021.
Well, yeah, it was
With the Addicts Wake.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And with the Addicts Wake, and you also at that time you were writing the musical, the 2020, the COVID musical.
Yes.
And you are also kind of the creator, the producer of that beloved, which we're going to talk about today,
Yes.
the Chris Crindle Market in Nashville, Indiana.
Yes.
By the way, guys, it's not just here in Carmel, which I'm going to say go to ours and go down to Nashville, which is also going to be returning December 6th and 7th.
Yes.
And it's wonderful just to have you here. So
Thank
welcome.
you.
I mean, it's been a while. We've got some catching up to do.
We do. And when she told me you were going to be hosting today, I'm like, I know him. I love him.
Well,
I'm so
thank
happy
you.
to see
Yes.
you.
Well, thank you. And I was so excited to see that you were going to be here. And this is just wonderful for me because it's like two old friends getting together again
Right.
and catching up. So
Right.
you've been such a creative force in Nashville. And I mean, when the first time we really spent time, we were at Northview in the cafe.
Coffee shop.
That's right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I think I probably asked you then, but I'm going to ask you again. How does living in artistic Nashville, in a town like that, influence your work as a producer?
Well, it's inspiring at the very least. I mean, because everywhere you turn, I meet somebody with these incredible, exquisite gifts, whether it's, painting, pottery, the musicianship of so many people that live in South Central Indiana that, will feed into the Nashville artistic scene. I mean, just everywhere you turn, Sam, there's somebody with this unbelievable talent. And so, you better get on board or you get left behind. You know how that goes. And
it's a creative, it's just a creative little town.
It is. And I know that had we not moved there in 2017, because we loved Indianapolis,
Right.
We raised our family here, but the nest emptied and I was just looking for a new adventure. And so once I got there and got settled, I thought, wow, this is a community where really magical things happen, and how can I add to the magic?
You really assimilated there, and
Very quickly,
and became part of the community,
Yeah.
and really embraced it. Now,
Yeah.
and again, for you, what I love about that is you've taken on a meaningful and diverse projects.
Yeah.
And if you could sum up what drives you creatively in one sentence, what would it be?
Impact. I want to create and use my life for impact.
I know. I'm going to hold your hand because we talked about this. Because you make a difference in people's lives.
My mom loved community, and she never worked, past having children, but she was always involved in the community in Anderson, where I grew up. And that sense of community and that profound investment that I watched her make was something that I thought, I need to leave a community. I'm not going to say I can make it better, but I need to be able to contribute to the community that I live in. It's important to me. And so when you come down to Brown County and you there's just this feeling there that, oh my gosh, this is a really special place. And it's full of very unique, diverse people. And they're not all people who think like me or believe like me. And I love that because that challenges me to grow in different ways, as well. So I love community and I love creating with impact being the end result.
So did you grow up in Anderson?
Grew up in Anderson, born and raised.
I was just there this past weekend, interesting enough, because my son-in-law grew up there, and we were taking my grandkids, my babies, my daughter's
I see
children.
them on
That's
Facebook,
That's right.
and
Well,
they're precious.
we went to the Paramount, an incredible theater, which interestingly enough, they told me that was destined to be torn down, but they saved it.
Yeah.
And we went to go see Blippi, and my grandson is obsessed with Blippi, and my little granddaughter, this was her first little rock concert, so to speak, of children's
love
musical
it.
theater, and it was so much fun. But my son-in-law took us around Anderson. I've been there a few times, sold some houses there, but haven't had that experience.
Yeah.
And we went to he went to the high school, and we took some pictures, and he took us around where he used to live in Edgewood. And,
Edgewood's where I grew up.
Yeah, Edgewood. Let me tell you, a beautiful community.
Yeah.
And, we pass everything. And it wouldn't have been a day without going and having ice cream at Uranus. So, yeah, not the best name, but
It is just fascinating to me that that's where they landed. But
yeah, yes. But I'll tell you, but we had ice
It
cream.
is awesome,
but
though.
I will say, and I've always had, especially during my kids throughout the years, going down to Nashville,
Yes.
Brown County, many times staying at the Brown County Lodge, doing the treks, the hikes, and going down to Nashville. And I have to say, going to the Playhouse
Yes.
and seeing your musical, which we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
it is just such a great community. And I think you do make a difference. So you've been a creative force there. Now, tell us how your journey in the arts began. Like, what was there a specific moment when you realized this was your path? Because a little different from mine. I mean,
Yes.
how did you get there?
Well, I was very involved in my kids' school here in Indianapolis at Heritage Christian, and
And they have a great, by the way, theater program.
they do, and we were without an executive, development director for a couple of years, and so I was serving as PTF president at that time, and had a new superintendent, and I said, we got to try some new things. We've got to create some fellowship here. We need to open our campus, and I go in and I just go all over him. And Ray was so great. He looked at me and goes, go for it. What do you want to do? So I created 3 new events there that, would really open our doors to the community, invite people in, get to know the campus better. And 2 of those events they're still doing.
And what are those events?
So one is called C2O, and it's Christ to Others, and it's a huge musical concert. So we bring in well-known Christian music. I think Avalon was the first year we brought in, and John David Webster.
Right.
And then there's a festival that goes on, kind of like a carnival that goes on at the same time. But it's a really wonderful day. And then the other one is an auction and a dinner. It's a fundraising event that we just made a lot of fun. And I've always said there's fun in fundraising for a reason. That word is
That's
in
right.
there.
It's in there because it's got to be fun.
It's got to be fun. And so that kind of started my creative juices flowing, if you will. And then when we moved, and our mutual friend Amy and I had connected over a social media post, and I didn't know anybody in Brown County when I moved there. So I was just starting to learn about the county. I started serving women in incarceration there, and that's when I posted that we'd had a rash of overdose deaths, and it had happened here in Carmel as well. And that's
So did you know Amy? So shout out to Amy.
No, I did not know Amy.
Yeah.
So that was just a great blessing in my life when she said, "Can we talk? And is there a story to tell?" And
Well, I mean, she's an award-winning producer.
Let's times 4 or 5 now.
Right.
Yeah. So so she, we talked, and she said, "Are there stories to tell?" And I said, "I think we have to tell these stories to heal and to get better." And so that's how the Addicts Wake adventure began. And then COVID hit during the filming of that. And I'll tell you how that all worked out, because I wasn't fully funded yet either, and there's COVID, and I'm like, what is happening, to this world? And I'm sitting with a cup of coffee one day on my couch, and it occurs to me that there's something inside that's saying, you should write this down. And I'm like,
Did you already have Glory Girl Productions at that point?
No, I did.
Okay.
I formed Glory Girl to make the Addicts Wake. So I had to form it.
So that's what inspired you.
Yes.
And
I needed a name really fast.
so how did you? So what inspired you to go with Glory Girl?
Because there was a young woman that I just did a podcast with her. She lives in Nashville, Tennessee, and she and I met at our church up in Fishers. And she said, you always say glory. She said, do you realize how many times a day you say glory? Or somebody will say, oh, that, someone called you back, and I'll say glory, just off the top of my head. And I say other things that aren't as nice too, but that was where.
But she called you the Glory Girl?
She called me, yeah. She said, "Do you know you're kind of my glory girl?" And I said, "So okay, that's the name. We're going."
See,
and
that's how things are developed. Somebody gave you the name.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked me how I became Broadway Sam. I said, I am not that narcissistic. I did not name myself that. It was actually
bestowed upon you.
It was bestowed actually by a gentleman that I was. An older fraternity brother, a colonel in the Army by the name of Paul Farinella, and he used to call me, well, there's Broadway Sam coming to see the shows. And when I got involved in theater and Broadway, one of my friends who's actually in marketing in theater, I mean, he's on the Hamilton team and all these things, he said, go with it. And I was like, really? He said, yeah, but it's a lot easier because it help people stop butchering my last name. Instead of Arce, they'd call me Acre, or the other one, which I didn't like, Arce. So, but you see, now it fits you. And Glory Girl works for you. And so you use that, and that's your production. I use that to form
my production company, so I could then put the team together to do...
And that's what started...
That's what started.
And Addict's Wake was your first movie, right?
My first film, yeah.
And it was...
The first film, yeah.
An award-winning in Heartland. You got an award.
Heartland, Sedona, Louisville, Vero Beach. We did really, really well. And the only reason that I even did those festivals was I didn't have any street cred. You know, you're a first-time filmmaker. And Michael was an Emmy Award-winning. My videographer had, Emmy Awards. And my editor had Emmy Awards. And so I just had no street cred.
Right.
And if I'm going to be out there marketing it, I needed some laurels. And so we did that, but that's the real reason that I wanted to create that film is I saw communities struggling with this decimation of their communities due to pandemic drug use and declining mental health.
Well, let me tell you, when I came and saw that, I'm going to start here. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And knowing the challenges we're dealing with opioid addiction and addiction in general, but opioid addiction and the problems and the overdoses and because of fentanyl and the things that are happening, it's so sad.
And it's scary.
It's scary.
And you don't have to be a long-term addict.
No.
It can set a hook in you so quickly.
That's what I've been told.
With the addictive properties of today's drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's something I talk to people about. I talk to my own son about it. He is, is a chemistry major, and he talks to me. He said, Dad, you have no idea. Yeah. And they put this in just about anything and everything now.
Yeah.
And it's
terrifying.
not like the old days, and I was not involved with drugs throughout my life.
But we both knew plenty of people who were
right.
And not dying.
Right.
And they were experimenting.
This is just in anything and everything.
Yeah.
But the story and meeting the people that were in it, the real life people, these were not actors.
No.
These were the real life, lived it, and yet seeing people that had turned their lives around. But the struggles, and it's a day by day dealing with this addiction. It's not something that they're cured.
It doesn't go away.
No. Sobriety is a day by day. I have friends that are dealing with it that are in the recovery programs that help people in the recovery programs, and it's just so important. So your movie became more than just a movie. It became a movement.
It became a movement. The timing was so critical as to when that came out. And that goes back to that I'm lamenting on my couch with my coffee going, I cannot believe we're not filming. We had to sit out like 4 months. Michael got COVID. My director got COVID really badly. I mean, he was very, very sick. thankfully, he was able to recover. But I hadn't finished all the funding yet either, and so we get back to start reintegrating into life again, and so many of the grants that had been issued to like the Indiana Recovery Network,
Yes.
or for instance, I'm calling them and they're like, I'm so glad you called. We have grant money that we need to use according to the grant guidelines, and all the programming has been paused. And so.
Was it specific to Brown County?
No, just nationally, states. This was a statewide organization that I partnered with a couple of times. And so she said, you know what, we can help you get over the finish line. I mean, so it was those kinds of things because of COVID, and funding had been suspended for programming. And that's why so many people relapsed, because programming went away, isolation, ensued.
It's so easy to fall right into back into it.
So it was a mess. But what happened was that helped us finish funding. And then once we came kind of out of COVID, the opioid use was right back to the top of the conversation, because 30% of the nation was experiencing increased fatal overdose deaths. And because of that isolation, because of the programming that had gone away during COVID. And so we had taken 4 steps backwards as a nation.
So we had COVID deaths, and now we had...
And then we had overdose deaths. And huge increase. So the movie released right when we were back to knowing that, oh my gosh, these fatal overdose deaths are on the rise again.
And I know that, the responses were incredible from communities, educators, and viewers.
Yeah.
But for you personally, what's the most meaningful takeaway from producing this documentary?
Gosh, Sam, you're asking me hard questions. I think the takeaway is that, not everybody's going to make a documentary.
Right.
But we can all do something to walk along some side of someone who's struggling, even if it's a phone call just to check in on them.
Absolutely.
We can't develop this mindset that hasn't touched my family, or it hasn't touched my circle, because it's only a matter of time. I have a sheriff in our law enforcement film that says, addiction's coming home to all of us. And so it's, how do I get involved, not put a fence to keep out? And
that's a very valid point, because I think too many times we're in protective mode and not looking at helping mode. And in fact, since the movie's come out, you've actually revised it. The journey's continued.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, to put it in communities, to have these community screenings, and then to have these really vibrant conversations afterwards, and the light shines down now. Our community is out with the problem, and they're admitting it.
It's not a stigma to talk about it.
And so we got to break down that stigma, and the film was so helpful to communities to do that. And so, but wherever we went, it didn't matter whether it was in the state of Indiana or other states, there was this outcry, can you do a film for schools? And we're like, Michael and I looked at each other. We thought that would be coming. And we said, yes, we can. And so Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the Central Indiana Community Foundation, came together very quickly to help me get a film for schools together. So film totally different, all new stories. We kept one rural story in, but we came to Carmel to get a story with our sweet Sarah, whose words in this educational film are so powerful. And then we went west side with Hope Academy, which is Indiana's recovery high school. Y'all, you need to support it.
Shout out.
There are 43 recovery high schools in the nation, only 7 that are accredited, and Indiana has an accredited recovery high school for kiddos seeking recovery, and it's such important work that they're doing. So we captured them, and then we went downtown. Got our urban story with Tasha, whose resilience is just beyond my comprehension. And Tasha shares so openly and so warmly about her really challenging childhood and what led her, to want to numb the pain and numb everything. And I don't blame her. You hear her story and you go, but of course.
You have done something so beautiful and brilliant, and it really has made a difference. And I know when we were talking about when this first came out, how important this was to you, and your motivations were so beautiful and pure, and
Yeah.
I applaud you for that.
Well,
And
thank you.
And then that took you to another project. We went through COVID.
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just to finish the Addicts Way,
Yeah.
so equally where we were in communities, we had an outcry for a law enforcement film.
What
And
was
it's the lens of what declining mental health and addiction looks like through our first responders and what they go through, and then what's happening now in incarceration is so different that was happening 10 years ago because it needed to be. So they're allowing new programming in, they're allowing peer-to-peer counseling in, they're while
the jails.
people are incarcerated. And so we showcase 3 agencies in the state of Indiana who are doing non-traditional programming, and they're reducing recidivism by 80%, and it's really working. And so we're trying to spread the word.
Because how do we rehabilitate people if they can't come out of incarceration,
Right.
go back into the community and expect
to have something
Right.
different?
That's
So
right.
if it's only punitive, we've not helped them.
No.
And
Or
so
might as well keep them in.
and they would say the same thing,
Right.
because the only thing they knew to do prior to some of this restorative programming being allowed was to get released at midnight and call their drug dealer, because it's the only number they truly knew.
Right.
And so then that's why you just had this repetitive arrest, spend
It's a
time.
vicious- it's a vicious cycle.
That wasn't ending. And so we're changing that. And so we wanted to capture the agencies that are changing that. And so now we have this film series that's a toolbox for communities to really, from a grassroots level, fight back against declining mental health and addiction. And it is incredible. And then the last tool in that toolbox, because the educational film is for 6th grade on up, is something that I really feel like God put on my heart for littles. And this is Avie, and this is her story. It's Avie's hope. Avie's an 8 or 9-year-old little girl, and she's navigating active addiction in the home with mom.
So she is a young girl who's dealing with a parent.
Yes.
Which is what's happening for...
It's so many that I saw.
Oh.
And there wasn't a lot out there that really addressed the issue from the lens of the child as to what having a parent in an active addiction looked like.
So you wrote this book and illustrated it?
No, I didn't. I hired a beautiful
Okay.
illustrator.
Oh, Lisa. Okay, yeah.
Yes, 2 Lisas.
I saw 2 Lisas, okay.
Yeah.
Well, because that illustration is really...
Well,
good.
it took me a year to find Lisa. Because I knew the illustrations were going to be so important to
That's
the subject matter. This isn't a cupcake and unicorn kind of story. And so the illustrations need to be, serious. And then because one of Avie's healthy coping strategies is to go to her imaginary horses in her head. She dances with Prince and Rizzo when she's feeling such dread. I have ladies in my community that make these, and we call them our comfort care ponies, and they can go with the book. So a kiddo can put this in their backpack and
they've got that.
Yeah, just feel sense of love and comfort.
Beautiful.
So Avie's Hope is the last in the Addicts Way toolbox, and I can hand this to a community and say, bring this on board. Let's fight back. I've had 2 senators, one state, one federal, tell me that they're so glad I've done this because we need these grassroots efforts and means of taking our communities back.
Well, I think this journey has continued, and ever since I've known you, you've been so passionate about it, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
And then, and again, I appreciate you sharing this because this is so sweet.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
You have a granddaughter, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, these are yours.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
I'm leaving all this with you today.
And so, as time went on, and as we knew each other, especially right after the pandemic was going on, what a show that was. You had, because we both love musical theater and everything, and I found out that your talents were more than just. Let's really talk about this because we had so much fun talking about musical theater, and you wrote a musical.
I didn't write it.
Well, you wrote.
I conceived
it. Yes.
Ashton Wolf is my writer.
Yes. the 2020 COVID the musical at
Yes.
the time,
Yes.
and it addressed one of the most challenging years of that time, especially after what we went through. But what had motivated you to write that at the time?
Okay, so we weren't filming.
Right.
We were having a timeout
Right,
because
yeah, that's what you
because of stinking COVID. And that's that cup of coffee again, and I'm like,
What do I do?
What is happening? What is going on? And then I got that impression that I was supposed to record what we were all going through. And Ashton's the only playwright I know, and I had met him through this Addicts Wake process. So I call him, he answers. I go, "What are you doing?" And he goes, I don't know. What are you doing? I said, "I'm having a cup of coffee and I've got something important to share with you, Ashton. I think we're supposed to write a play about what we're all experiencing during this horrible pandemic." And he goes, "Tell me more." And I said, "Well, I don't want it to be political. I want it to be absolutely focused on the things that are challenging us all, no matter who you are, socioeconomically, no matter your background, where you live." And it's shortage of toilet paper, for
Right.
instance. And we have the toilet paper blues,
Right.
which is one of my favorite songs. And so he said to me, "How do you feel about a musical?" I said, 10 times better.
Yeah.
And
It had to be a musical.
and so as we talked, and so we ended up with a 21 song, just kind of a walk through all the common denominators. And again, Sam, I wanted this musical to be a way to bring everybody together and to help you process what we've all walked through. And musical theater and theater in general has been helping people process culture since the beginning of time.
Absolutely.
And so I thought, what better way than to bring, now I think we were a little too soon out there because, there's so many losses during, and we didn't make light of COVID. This
No.
was not a comedy.
No, it was not.
And we took, some songs were most serious. But it was just about all the things that we experienced. Like we have Disinformation Nation as a song because we were getting, information from everywhere and no consistent messaging. And, it's just those kinds of things. And so so that year in 21, I launched a film, a market, and a musical. So a movie, a market, and a musical.
Well, I saw the movie. I came down to Nashville and
You
saw the
did.
show.
You did.
Yeah, and had a lot of fun. I mean, it was healing. There was laughter. There was reflection. It had all of that.
It had all of that.
It was all of that. And
so bring it to your theater, people.
it's a lot of
We
creativity.
will help you get there.
A lot of creativity.
Yeah.
And the next thing I want to talk about is something that you've been passionate about, something that you help bring to your community there.
Yeah.
And that I mentioned earlier in the segment, the Chris
Kindle.
Kindle Mark, which is going to be the 6th and the 7th. And of course, in Nashville, for listeners unfamiliar with it, what makes this event unique and special?
Because it's a Chris Kendall Market, Nashville, Brown County style.
Okay.
Okay,
So they've done the Carmel one, which we have.
And that is so
It's an incredible. It is.
And it's equal to the beautiful one in Chicago. And if you've ever been able to enjoy a European market, you know how closely Carmel has been able to follow that layout and design. This is Brown County style. There's a much smaller budget involved. It's only 2 days, but I have to tell you, it is so sweet. And
you're going to Nashville. This is a ride.
It's a ride.
You're going for the day.
Yeah. And you come into this community that looks like a Hallmark community.
Right.
And I thought to myself 2 things. When you're tourism dependent, you have to create reasons for people to return past the leaves. Right?
Sure.
And so December is typically a very, very slow month for restaurants, hotels, and they're coming off a very busy fall season, but still.
Right.
It's, Thanksgiving on, it gets pretty slow.
Yeah. So they were hibernating a little bit. So you're taking them out of hibernation.
I'm taking them out of hibernation because they needed the bolster for economy wise. And so I was watching the Hallmark Channel one day and I'm like, we need our own Christmas market. we look like this movie set.
Yeah, it's like a Hallmark.
And
Right.
and so found about 5 people who were willing to jump in the crazy van with me and see if we could get this done. Had to get a lot of talking to the town and
Cue the deer.
I could.
Right.
Cue the deer. But so year 1 was 21, and we learned a whole lot. We're lucky we didn't burn down Coach Light Square.
Aw.
And it was wonderful, and people loved it. And we have it on a weekend where there are other beloved holiday traditions going on. So the Community Foundation does Stuff-a-Stocking that day. We have this year It's a Wonderful Life happening at the Playhouse. And then when the market closes on Saturday, this is such a special thing. The market closes at 6. At 6:30, people take their food, their libations, their hot cocoa, and they line the sidewalks. And then in comes this parade, this light parade,
Wow.
where it's Brown County style.
Okay.
And we've got big dump trucks that are all lit up. We've got semi-trailers that are pulling
all right.
all sorts of scenes. It
Okay.
is fantastic.
This is what you get.
This is what you get. And the very first year I saw that parade, I'm like, oh, this is just
Incredible.
incredible. And it's a small town America, and I absolutely love it. So we do everything on that weekend, because when visitors come, it's such a full weekend.
Yeah.
And it has done economically everything I hoped it would do for the community.
That's wonderful.
Our restaurants are full. Our hotels are full. And it's just a really joyful time.
They must just love you there because you.
Oh, I don't know. I cause a lot of problems for town, and I'm like, we're going to need extra trash cans, and we're going to need, and they look at me like,
Well, you know what? That may be so, but when you think about the economic impact,
yeah.
just like here in Carmel,
Yes.
the investment that brings in,
Oh, it's
and the
incredible.
residual
Yeah.
effects,
Yeah.
that really makes a difference. And
So I got my love of Christmas from my mom, and she passed away the day of the market in 23.
Oh,
So I wasn't even there. I got the call on Friday. I'm setting up and things. My sister says, I think you better come back to Indy.
Sure.
So we were with her. But that morning, that market had to continue on.
Yeah. The show must go on.
The show must go on.
Yeah.
And I had 2 people that really stepped in for me that year. But last year was great. This year's, I think, going to be our best one yet. We're kind of dialing in, and we 35 artisan vendors and food and libations, and we got good libations. We got all the wineries there. We've got Bear
you've got
Wallow
some of
Distillery.
You've got some of the best of the best.
Hard Truth will be there. So yeah, so I had to beg them to let me bring a couple food trucks in, and you know what sold the argument? I have so many libations and
That you gotta have food.
and sugary things we've got to have food.
You gotta have food.
And so we're going to have some great food.
Well, that makes sense.
Our Boy Scouts are going to be selling brats. And so it's so collaborative, Sam. And that's what I love. I wanted it to be all community hands on deck. And that's what makes it unique and special. And
What's that?
our souvenir mugs
Yeah.
are hand pottered.
Hand pottered souvenir.
Hand pottered. And that differentiates us because they're not coming from overseas. They're
Cool collectible.
Holly Salo of Holly Potts has done them for the last 4 years, and this year's is just going to be incredible.
You heard that here. It's a ATI lunch break exclusive
You bet.
with Lisa, all right, and Broadway Sam. So now, as we are coming to the end here, what's your favorite part of producing that event? You got the music, the community, the atmosphere, but what's your favorite part? It's just bringing everybody together.
Yeah, I think Christmas, the holidays, whatever you celebrate, around that time, what holiday, it's the one time where I see people unified.
Yeah.
And so the favorite part for me of that event is sometime on Saturday afternoon after we're rolling and I know we're good, and I can stand back and can I just watch everybody interacting and the smiles and the laughter and the kids' faces, and we have a family zone and it's free to attend. And you know, Brown County has 53% of its population struggles, and so I wanted to create an event where you could come and enjoy it as a resident, not spend $1, and still enjoy the music, enjoy the family zone, see Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Sure.
And
but
have,
it's not gonna break the bank for you.
No. So there's no tickets. And then, of course, our tourists love it as well. And they're now planning their weekends around this event. So I think it's, for me, the reward is just seeing, you know, the joy at some point during the event.
I mean, your work has heart. And I mean, it shows your personal values, your faith, your commitment to the community, and it just really makes a difference.
Thank you, friend.
And I mean, what would you say is your biggest lesson you've learned so far as a producer and a creative leader in the arts world? What would you say?
Well, you know, being a creator in the arts world, you're met with way more no's than yeses. And
That's true.
You have to be in it for the long haul. And if you're not, you're going to get your feelings hurt. You're going to get a lot of bruises and bumps, a lot of sheep bites. So you better go on home. And, you know, you've got to be able to hear no and go, yep, I'm not okay with no, so let's rethink the question, or let's rethink how we might approach it. I've had to rethinking so many times, you know, to get done what I wanted to see done, for whether it was for the musical or for the market or the film series. And, you know, you can't take no and go home.
But every no, you're that much closer to the yes.
Yes. And so I have a new film that's brewing. I'm desperate for funding.
Okay.
Okay. But the gal that we just brought in from Colorado, who again, she talks on resilience because her life has been nothing but resilient. And she says the no for her stands for the next opportunity.
That's right. Well, the best 4-letter word I ever learned was next.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, and again, in this world, you have to be.
you have to be in it. You have to be able to endure, you know, the no's and be in it for the long term, long haul.
Okay, quick, just as we wrap up, quick things. Favorite musical of all time? I get asked this. I know it's a tough question because it changes
so
for me.
many.
I know. All right, well, top couple if you.
Okay, top couple, Fiddler on the Roof.
I love it. Great show.
It's
a great show. It's
classic. It's classic, and it probably changed my life. I loved Fiddler on the Roof. It really drew me into music. I love Oklahoma.
Good one.
I love. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I do show tunes, so Sound of Music. I love that. You know, just those good old classics. I love some of the ones. You know, I love Les Mis and the one Chorus Line.
Yeah.
The ones that have been staples on Broadway.
Staple Broadway ones.
Staple Broadway. But yeah, that's.
I wasn't expecting Hamilton, but that's okay. You know,
I will be honest with you. I thought it was amazingly creative. It's not my favorite.
Excuse me.
God bless you.
You know, one more.
Yeah, it's the lights.
Haven't done that yet.
It's not my favorite, but I think it's
an incredibly
a beautiful journey.
Journey, and I love it. But you know, one of the things I tell people, if you've not seen it and you're a little bit older, see it on Disney with the subtitles because there's so much on there to miss. And you know, Lynn will even say it. That's a show you can watch it over and over again because you're constantly learning from it. And
pick up something new that you didn't.
Absolutely.
And that's when you know that's a great show.
It's a great show.
Yeah. I think it's high energy. There's so many things I love about it.
So much going on.
But I'm kind of planted in those
Absolutely.
classics.
Now, one artist you would love to collaborate with. Anyone in particular?
Right now, Jelly Roll.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one.
I do.
Jelly Roll, if you're hearing this, if this in any way gets out, you would have an incredible time working with this lady. She's incredible.
Well, his heart
and
his journey and his story, and he's been so transparent and authentic, and that authenticity are the people that I want to work with.
I love it. I love it. I think I know what this would be. Coffee, tea, or hot cocoa?
Coffee.
I know you're a coffee lady.
Coffee all day.
Stage or screen, which do you prefer?
Stage.
Okay, I like that. And one word that describes your creative journey so far?
Oh, one word,
Yeah.
unexpected.
Wow. For me, I say incredible for you. You're an incredible person, and inspiring is the other word for me.
You trying to make me cry?
Oh, that's the truth. Well,
Thank you. That's so kind.
well,
But it has been a very unexpected journey, and I'm so grateful for it.
you know, I mean, for me, everything's unbelievable because it covers it either way, but typically pretty good.
Yeah.
Before I wrap up, I just want to give a little shout out for ATI. We just finished an incredible run with Young Frankenstein, which we had sold out. And our next show coming up will be Lucky Stiff. And I'll be talking about that more as the weeks go on. That's going to be January 30th through February 15th. And you'll actually see me in it. I'll be the stiff. Yes, you'll have to come back and see that. I'll get you a ticket for that.
I want to come see
Yes.
it. I'll
And then-
buy a ticket.
You'll be for me.
Okay.
And then you got me in your show. I get you in my show. I'm the stiff. And then Sunset Boulevard. But how do you get tickets for that? ATIstage.org or 317-843-3800. We are Broadway in your backyard. You'll hear more about that next week. The key thing is support theater. There's so much wonderful theater here in your backyard, Broadway in your backyard. That's ATI. There's all the different avenues of the arts that we have here. And you can go just a drive, and it's a rather beautiful drive down to Brown County. You can get to, we'll have our, beautiful Christmas extravaganza here in our Kindle Mart. But then you're going to get to go to theirs, and it's just 2 days only, the 6th and the 7th.
Yes.
So I encourage you to do that because she puts a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful market on there.
Thank you.
So Lisa, thank you so much for sharing your story, your projects, and your vision, because that's what it is, your vision. And you know what? It's more than a vision because you take your vision and you implement it.
Yeah.
Things happen with you. You're the person that makes things happen.
Thank you,
And for our
Sammy.
listeners who want to follow your work and learn more about Glory Girl Productions, where can they connect with you online?
Yeah, it's L Hall at Glory Girl Productions is my email and .com. L Hall at Glory Girl Production singular.com is my email, or you can go to theaddictswake.com and you can see an abridged version of that first film that we were talking about. It is still running on PBS. So you go to pbs.org and you can stream The Addict's Wake. Don't forget the word the. They will not pull it up if you don't add the word the.
Gotta have the.
You gotta have the. And so so that's good through August of 26. And then LisaDotsonHall.com. I am doing some speaking, so you need a speaker, talk about community and how we mobilize community for change. I'd love to come speak to your group.
She's incredible.
So there's lots
Inspiring.
of ways to find me.
That's right. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here.
Thank
You
you,
have been so
Sam.
much fun. And I just want to say until the next time, stay inspired.
Yes.
Keep creating. Keep just giving all that you give to the world because you give so much love and caring and glory because that's what you are.
Glory.
You're the glory girl. So with that, I'll see you here in the next coming weeks. It'll be either me or Brad, and we appreciate all that you do, the support you give to us, live theater. Thank you so much. I'm Broadway Sam Arce, and with Lisa, we are out. Thank you. Have a wonderful week, and God bless you. Have a wonderful day.